Roll for Crit is made possible thanks to the support of viewers like you and our patrons on our Patreon page.
You can become a patron for just $1 a month at patreon.com/rollforcrit. This is another Roll for Crit Kickstarter preview. This time it's for the game Escape Deathrace 2182 Micro. This is a micro game, the premise of which is that aliens have invaded the planet, our doom is imminent, and there is a really cool race going on, a death race in fact, and all players are attempting to A, take down the evil alien overlord and save Earth, but also B, take out all of the other racers in the process because you want to be the last one standing.
Yeah, the world's end is at our doorstep, but you still need opponents. This is not cooperative. Who'd want a cooperative way to save the world? The game will start off with you choosing one of several characters, each with their own color and, of course, special abilities and backstory. And you will be at the start line. You will draw cards from a D4 deck, simulating a D4 die, which will tell you how far you move, and also how many tiles you place. The tiles you will draw from a deck, and you'll have to make sure that they connect in a legal way, so pretty much keep your roads attached. There are a lot of different roads you can draw. Some of them are simply just that, roads. You can also draw hazard and fire roads, which pretty much will damage you should you pass or stop on them. There's also going to be events through the interstate signs. If you draw this tile, you'll draw from the event deck, which will usually tell you to do something, and maybe possibly draw from the D4 die again to see what your result is. There are nitro spaces because you don't want to go slow, you gotta go fast. These will give you an extra space of movement, which is important because you do want to travel to other tiles pretty quickly. Now, there may be things added to tiles as well because, as we said, you're trying to kill everyone. Everyone starts with a set of items. They either help you can drop on the road to damage other players, or, of course, to defend yourself. However, there is one tile I've not yet mentioned yet, and it's a pretty big bad one.
That's right, there are 3 sub-boss tiles in addition to one final boss, but you're going to have to get through those sub-bosses before you can enter the same tile as the final boss, which will always be the last one in the stack. But first you gotta go ahead and fight those sub-bosses. When you come across one, you have to stop in that space until it's defeated. At the start of your turn, you're going to take 3 damage, and then you can fight back, again by using those D4 cards. These are going to randomly determine how much damage you were able to do. You may also be able to use some of your weapons that you have. For example, the smoke bomb will stop that initial 3 damage from hitting you, while the other weapons at your disposal will just do a straight up 3 damage to them. Once their HP is down to 0, you will get some rewards. If you are on that tile, you get to take one of your weapons back that you previously used. And if you're the one who dealt the final blow, you get a brand new power card. Power cards have all kinds of effects that will do different things on your turn, might help you, might hurt your opponents, or you can use them possibly against those bosses. Again, once you get through all 3 of those bosses, you can move on to the final boss space, and multiple players can also fight all of these bosses at the same time on various different turns, so you can work together a little bit, but once those bosses are defeated, then you're fighting each other. If you land in a space with someone, or if you move past them, you'll have different ways that you can fire at them, so you're constantly worrying about your own health in regards to other players, but if no one is able to take down that final alien overlord, if everyone dies before then no one wins. So you may want to work together a little bit before you start an all-out war.
Yeah, it's interesting how that it's sort of cooperative. I mean, if there's anything that's semi-cooperative and much towards the competitive side, it's something like this. You need to probably work together to defeat those bosses because they will dish out damage regularly and usually not in your favor. But once everyone's at that final boss and he gets taken out, you're sort of all just looking at each other and like, so you're looking pretty low on health right now.
Yeah, in fact, at that point, you are allowed to use your weapons against other players. Normally, you cannot throughout the rest of the game. So it's really like, this is it. We're all in. It's just a death match to the end. This is a micro game, as you probably inferred from micro being in the title of it. I believe they are in the works on a full Escape Deathrace game coming later on. This micro version is on Kickstarter first. So it's pretty small. It fits in just a little tin, and you can set it up pretty quickly and easily. And it's definitely one that is, like we said, even with that little bit of a semi-co-op nature, it's mostly about killing everybody. There's definitely going to be a lot of fighting between friends in this one.
There's a colorful cast of characters for you to choose from, as well as racers. Of course, they have their own unique backstory as well. Some of them very mysterious, some just in it for the thrill. You know, with those backstories come abilities, such as the ability to ignore some of those fire tiles, which can be very useful, or maybe ignoring some of the items used by enemies so that they don't get hurt by, for example, the guns or landmines.
Yeah, as you play, some of those weapons get dropped, like landmines or fire, so you can leave them on a tile in your wake, sort of like a spy hunter or James Bond kind of a thing. I don't think there's an oil slick. Maybe one of the cards has that. But yeah, so, things can get dangerous, and there aren't a ton of tiles. It is a micro game, so you're going to see most of them pretty early on. The game will only last you probably around 20 minutes to play. So things can get hectic, and sometimes you have to figure out which way do I go that's safe. Maybe you're hoping someone else will clear something so you don't have to. You can also go backwards and forwards, so you're not like strictly tied to going towards the finish line. There's no rules to this race. You're not going to get kicked out. You're free to do whatever you want, reverse, fire at each other. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and it's definitely a game with a weird sense of humor that I think is appropriate for the theme of it.
I don't know, Jonathan. I'm pretty sure that game came with rules. And in fact, if you want to learn them, you can watch the How to Play Jonathan made.
That is true. We got a How to Play for this one, so if you want to get a more in-depth, full-on description of exactly how everything in this one works, you can go watch that elsewhere on our channel, or you can go ahead and go directly to the Kickstarter page for Escape Deathrace. We will have a link to it down in the description, and if you let us know what you think in the comments, it'll make our day. It really will. So again, it's Escape Deathrace 2182 Micro. Say that 5 times fast, and you can go check it out because it's live on Kickstarter right now. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Road Rage Will.
Okay, cool. And this is Roll for Crit. That's what this was.
Never miss out by liking and subscribing, and you can also check out more on our Patreon.
We do weekly podcasts on Patreon. Don't you want to sign up and hear more of our voices?